And my God, I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this. Julianna Peña just put it on the champion. I mean, she was beating her to the punch all night long. And I'm dying to get your thoughts here because early on, as I was watching it with my wife in Mexico at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I was making her watch. Of course, she wanted to go to sleep. Teddy, I was noticing that Julianna Peña would both throw a jab at the same time. And Julianna Peña would slip her head to her own right and throw a left jab, and it was just like an inch longer than Nunes' punch, than Nunes left, and it would just hit her right solid in the mouth, and she'd slip off. Then she'd slip back to her left and throw an overhand right over the top of Nunes' jab and clip her every time. And it was like she found this perfect formula. And as soon as she started hitting those shots, it was like the momentum just, if Nunes had the confidence coming in of the champion and Peña the challenger, as soon as she realized she could get her with that jab and slip and hit the jab and then hit her with the overhand right, then Nunes at one point took her to the canvas and then Peña got on the canvas. But at the finish, it appeared to me, and you see this sometimes in fighting, I think that McGregor did this against Nate Diaz. When someone's putting it on you in the UFC, it's almost like a silent agreement, like, all right, let me just give you my back. Just choke me because I can't get out of here. I'm not going to tap from strikes, but I'm going to let you get out. She didn't even have the hooks in. She didn't have her wrapped up. She just sunk in a rear naked choke without having really her body locked down, where you could argue that if Nunes really wanted to be in that fight, you're not choking that kind of veteran with a rear naked choke without securing the body, either with the leg triangle or getting at least one hook in. But she put the rear naked. Nunes tapped right away. Not to take anything away from Nunes, but I feel like Julianna Peña surprised her and overwhelmed her, and it looked just like the not that Amanda Nunes ever came off like a bully, but the bully almost became bullied, and it just looked like Peña just started to control and believe in herself, and just, wow, what a performance. Julianna Peña, 11-1 underdog, becomes the new UFC champion. How'd you like that one? And what'd you think about the stand-up skills, what I was describing about how she was slipping and connecting with that jab and then the overhand right over Nunes' jab?
We talk about, the commentators mention it too. They do a great job. But you talk about, the first comparison comes to you is Buster Douglas and Tyson when you think of the enormity of the upset, Ken? But I was surprised they didn't mention one that was pretty damn enormous right in their own sport, and that was Holm and Rousey. People forget how dominant Rousey was. I mean, Rousey was a monster. I mean, she was Godzilla. And, and when she got stopped and beaten, submitted, knocked out, whatever was the final result of it, but she got beat by Holly Holm, who was a former fighter who I used to watch box on ESPN because I was calling her fights early in her boxing career. So it was like that. She got broken. She got physically, she being Nunes, she got physically and mentally, emotionally broken. I saw that. I witnessed it. And as far as what you're talking about, Ken, with the jab, call it the sweet science, if you will. Welcome to the sweet science, people. It's not just about being tough and brutal and physical. It's about being smart and smarter than your opponent and having a little edge. She had a little edge because she moved ahead a little bit to the, as you said, you described, kind of like when you watch the peekaboo style of Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson was Mike Tyson, where you would see him slip to either side as he jabbed simultaneously. So his jab would land and the other jab would miss. And he would discourage you from throwing your jab because of that. Besides hurting you, physically impacting you with the jab, but he made you hesitant about throwing your jab, made you think twice, and made you feel like you weren't in control, which is what ultimately happened with Peña. She made Nunes feel like she wasn't in control anymore. She's used to being in control.
Yeah.
She was not leaving there without the belt. And
she's been
so
calling
many
for it for a
lessons.
long time too. Julianna Peña was like, even when she was just up and coming, she was a candidate or a contestant on The Ultimate Fighter for the last like 2 or 3 years, however long it was. She's been calling for Amanda Nunes forever when like you barely knew who she was. And I remember thinking like, man, this girl's trying to talk herself into a fight with the champ. I thought it was aggressive because I knew who she was, but not. You wouldn't have expected someone that low in the rankings to be that aggressively calling out the champ for several years. So when she got there, it was almost like when she won, it was like, I've been telling you guys I could beat her for the longest time. But, you know, a lot of people posture like that in combat sports. To see someone deliver, man, it was so refreshing. And I love Amanda Nunes. She seems like a wonderful person. She trains down there at American Top Team with Dustin Poirier, Mikey Brown, and the crew. So it's hard not to like her, but it's hard not to root it for Julianna Peña. I think they said she's the first champion that's ever given birth to a child. Amanda Nunes has a child with her wife, but I think that the wife carried the baby. And Julianna Peña, the first woman to ever deliver a child and become a UFC champion. So,
and you saw the child with her, which was a great picture.
Beautiful.
And you saw her in there. It was a great picture. Great picture. You proud of your mommy? Champion? I mean, wow.
I'm surprised there aren't more women that have given birth, because I feel like once you've given birth, women just get like, it's like being the champion makes you 30% tougher. Women I've seen in sports, especially endurance sports, having a child, I feel like they get 30% faster. And in Julianna Peña's case, 30% tougher. My God, she... Credit to her, man. That was it was a good story all around. Good sportsmanship from both parties. They were aggressive towards each other, but not disrespectful, and very appreciative of each other after the fight. And Amanda Nunes was all class in defeat.
Yeah, no, they both were. You know, I was surprised when I was listening to commentating, and they all really experts at what they do. They were talking about the size and strength of Nunes, which everyone kind of appreciates that and understands that. It's been an advantage to her to a certain extent, besides everything else that's part of her great skill level. But I didn't see it that way. When they were saying that, I was saying, did anyone notice that this Peña is pretty big and strong too? Like, I'm looking at her body, I'm saying she's strong and big too. So I was thinking of that. Listen, the first round went to Nunes, but I think this will sound crazy to some people. I think Peña gained confidence from that first round, losing the first round, and I think the opposite happened for Nunes. Nunes might have even thought I underestimated her. I don't know. But all I'm telling you is that first round that definitely went to the champion, Nunes. Peña went into the lion's den, literally, because she calls herself the lioness, I guess. She went into the lion's den, went into her turf, and I came out of it. Well, I'm going back in there, and she ain't coming out. And she ain't coming out. And you know what? She didn't. Her chin was like the chin of like Rocky Marciano, and I mean, and like Muhammad Ali. I mean, her chin was, the only thing more stronger than her chin, more granite than her chin, her will. And that's part of what makes up her chin. Her will was so strong, you could feel it. It transmitted through the TV. You could actually feel it. And she was not being denied. She just was not being denied. And everything. She broke. If you know what you're watching, you could see it and feel it. There was a moment she broke Nunes.